Today I am finally doing my fully furnished tour of my apartment in New York City. As I'm sure a lot of you are already aware, rent prices have been skyrocketing all across the country, and as a result, a lot of us are having to find new and creative ways to live. So while part of this video's purpose is of course to show you what it's like living in Manhattan at this price point, I also wanted to share our experience sharing a studio as a couple in case that is something that you are considering for yourself in the near future. I live in a 600 square foot studio apartment in a doorman building in downtown Manhattan, specifically in the financial district, and I pay $2,875 in rent. So just for context, I moved back in July of 2021, back when COVID deals were mostly over, but rent prices weren't quite as crazy as they are now. My base rent is actually $2,800, but since my landlord was the original tenant and was moving out of state, I was able to negotiate with him to rent certain pieces of key furniture that I didn't want to have to go through the hassle or the cost of purchasing myself. This included the bed frame, the couch, the TV, and my entire desk setup. There were also a few additional touches like a built-in Sonos soundbar that was already wired through the wall, smart blinds, and a few Philips Hue smart lamps that were also wired into the apartment. He ended up throwing these into the deal as well just because it was simpler to leave them installed rather than having to figure out a way to remove them, and I reluctantly agreed to this massive burden. Now, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about renting furniture, but I decided to go this route just because, number one, I wasn't sure how long I would be living in the city and in this specific apartment. And number two, all of the items I rented were pretty high end and definitely out of budget for something that I would have bought outright or even secondhand. And the third reason is because when I was moving in, this is when supply chains were incredibly burdened and everyone was trying to furnish their house at the same time. So it would take you a few months up to a year just to get a simple couch or a bed. And I did not want to do that on a 1-year lease. And just as an FYI, I did not have to pay a broker's fee to get this apartment. And the utilities that I pay are for Wi-Fi and gas and electric, and then water and trash is included. So once again, we live in the financial district, also known as Fidi. It is the southernmost neighborhood in Manhattan, making it a part of downtown. The reason I was drawn to this neighborhood is because my two priorities when moving was number one, to live in Manhattan, at least for my first year in the city, and number two was safety, which meant I really wanted a doorman building if at all possible. I eventually settled on Fidi because not only does it have some of the best deals on luxury units in Manhattan, but it's also probably one of, if not the most convenient neighborhood to access the rest of the city from, especially if you live on the Fulton side, which is where I am. I can also walk to a lot of popular neighborhoods like Soho, Chinatown, Lower East Side in about 15 minutes, and then other neighborhoods like West Village or even downtown parts of Brooklyn in probably 30 minutes or less. The neighborhood itself is also very, very dense, which means that a lot of amenities and services are within a few blocks of where I live. So my doctor, several pharmacies, lots of coffee shops, grocery stores, restaurants, hair salons, clothing stores, really anything you can need, I can get there in just a couple minutes time. My building specifically is a luxury building, so it does have certain amenities like a pool, sauna, hot tub downstairs. It has a small but built-in gym. It does have a doorman, and it does have a rooftop and some work areas. Now, if you watched my last apartment tour when I first moved in, you'll probably notice that I originally intended to move into this space on my own. I did not lease it with the intention of having a partner live here or sharing the space. And if you want to know how my boyfriend ended up here, that is a very complicated story, which I will not get into right now. But to keep things short and sweet, I'll just say Alby did move in around September, a few months after I had initially leased the apartment. And we have been living together and sharing this space ever since. Now let's get into the tour. Well, hello. Welcome to my New York City apartment bathroom. What do I do now? Here is my actual entrance. Ta-da! When you first come into the apartment, we're actually in the hallway right now, and because Alby moved in later, we gave him this wonderful beautiful, happy corner to work out of with his many monitors. And it's a little difficult to get inside sometimes, but we make it work. We also have all my purses here as his work background, and we have a couple shoes here and a nice entryway mirror so you can kind of just check and make sure that everything is good before you go out. These are mostly Alby shoes, and they come into here. We have lots of storage, and it's very high and not very well designed for people of my size and stature. My phone's in here. Here is the main closet. It's split into two different sections, which is nice in terms of space, but also not so nice because I need a step stool to get up here. So we tend to keep more of our nicer clothing and outerwear and, you know, some of our winter coats because right now it's summer up there, so we don't have to access it as much. And then there's a couple more pull-out drawers here, and we have more shoes down here because I have a lot of shoes. Come on over, don't be shy. A lot of Muay Thai gear because Alby loves collecting gloves and belly pads and all that good stuff. We have a lot of COVID tests. If anyone needs a COVID test, let me know, I got you. And usually this is a little more organized, but it's our gym bags, some tools, and vacuum, and then our very messy pantry, which you don't need to look at. Let's go revisit the bathroom, aka the entryway. Here we have a very large Vegas-style bathroom with double sinks for a studio. Why did they do this? I don't know. One of the great mysteries of life. But we have these vanities. Medicine cabinet vanity things with a lot of nice shelving and mirror, tons of storage. It's been 1108 for the past year. You can also press this and do different settings. So that's really nice when I'm doing my makeup because I got some light going on. And the rest of this is just general boring bathroom things. Plus all my makeup is in here and just some random stuff in there. This is, again, random stuff. We're kind of organized. This is our laundry basket, and then I also bought this little bamboo shelving setup just so we could store some of our extra toilet paper and towels. And we have a rain shower with a nice heated towel rack, which we use as a regular non-heated towel rack. And Alby installed this little body wash shampoo dispenser thingy so we can feel even more like we're in a hotel and not at home. And then the main living space, we start out at this kitchen, which looks really nice but is not actually designed for cooking. I have this electric stove which only heats this much of a pan at a time and doesn't get very hot, which is very frustrating for me, but that's okay, we make it work, just New York apartment things. We also have this easy bake oven, which fits a half-size pan. It was supposed to be a microwave, but the microwave broke and we decided to just get a normal microwave instead. Over here is our coffee corner, which is kind of chaotic and not very aesthetic. We have an espresso and a little foam arrow frother thing as well, and one of these little Nespresso pod holders. I do find this kitchen very frustrating because even though we have so much counter space to work with, most of it is floating, which means that this space and this space and this tiny space is the only place we can put appliances, which is why we have 2 appliances. These are the worst lights ever designed by man and evidence that a rich person designed this apartment to never be lived in, because each of these cast really awful stripes along the wall, as you can see, and they can't be removed, which is unfortunate. And all of these halogen lights will go out if you touch it with any sort of oil or dirt, or even just like tap this. So usually these lights last for about 2 weeks and then you have to replace them. This one has been out literally since we moved in. Again, very unfortunate. Here is our fridge and our freezer, which was broken for 5 months and had to be replaced. Also do not understand why this is so small when the apartment is so big. And here is the star of the entire studio, in-unit laundry. This is our central AC and heater, which doesn't really work like an AC is supposed to. It kind of just blows out cold air until it reaches a temperature, then it starts blowing out hot air to keep it at the temperature. And all of that comes out of this nice little ventilation system, which I also like to call the mosquito hotel, because mosquitoes like to come out of there into our apartment, bite us in the middle of the night, and then go home. These are 2 stools, which I haven't used since I bought them a year ago because they were too tall and I was too lazy to replace them. So if anyone wants new stools from Home Depot, they're very nice and I will give it to you at a discount. Here is our random corner of chaos. We have a lot of these hidden around the apartment. And this is our tech armoire console thing that I never know the name of. We have a bunch of stuff in here for gaming, our router, lots of camera equipment. Alby likes to collect a lot of things, as you can tell. This TV, which was my landlord's, is really nice. It's like a curved Samsung smart TV. And it's connected to this Sonos soundbar, so that's all really cool. These are also Philip Hue lights, so if you go onto the app, you can set it to different types of lighting. You can control it from your phone, which is also nice. And then this is a mirror, which I really love and I'm very proud of getting because at the time when I moved into this apartment, IKEA was completely sold out of their Hobbit mirrors that everyone loved and people were reselling them for 3 times the price. So I'm glad that I got one that was very similar and good quality. And then the bedroom. So I really like this bed frame because it's very light, very airy. We have a very cushiony backboard over here. And then what's really cool is that under here, you can deadlift the bed. Ugh. I work out. And you have all the storage under here where we have 7 suitcases. I don't know why, don't ask me. Here is our remaining plant. I've already given some away to friends to adopt while we're gone. This one is not doing well. He doesn't like to be moved or looked at or acknowledged. Here are our smart blinds. You can control them from a phone or this little dial thing over there. You can set them to a timer or you can just control it whenever you feel like sleeping if you have an inconsistent sleep schedule like I do. And then here is my desk setup. I like to keep it really clean and minimal. There is permanently a half-drinking glass of cold brew on here as an accessory, as you can see. I really wanted to decorate this and make it look a little nicer and more homey, but I didn't. So now we just have this TV mount that has been there since we moved in and we never took down. So that has been my one decoration. This is also a bike rack. Again, not really useful, but my landlord left it in here and we never took it down or did anything with it. The abyss of items that get thrown somewhere because we have no other place to put them. This is a sleeper couch. You just push these headboards back and also take this out. Don't look at this thing. And then it becomes kind of like a large twin, small, full size for someone to sleep on. It's actually really comfortable. It gives a lot of support. So I've had a couple people stay over on here. This is a coffee table. I hate it, so I will be selling it. Now that you've had a chance to look around the place a bit, let's talk about why we will not be renewing our lease and what we're gonna be doing next instead. Though I do think that this was a really wonderful apartment to experience New York in for my first year, there were 2 specific deal breakers that led us to not renewing our lease. Like I mentioned earlier, this was not originally intended to be a shared apartment. Because of certain circumstances and just our situation, we did work it out for the majority of this year, but I don't think I'd want to share a studio long-term with anyone, really. I think it would be doable if one or both of us worked from an office, but unfortunately both of us work from home, which means that this is not only our living, sleeping, eating, and relaxing space, but is also 2 offices at the same time, which can be very difficult in practice. I also do this as a side hobby. Speaking of, if you like this video so far, you should press this button over here. Okay, bye. Which means that I need a lot of space and quiet to film, and that can be a little bit of an issue when Alby has meetings and we don't really have a door to separate us. The second reason, and this is honestly probably the biggest one, is the lack of natural lighting. Although this unit does have very large south-facing windows, there is a big building blocking the sun, which means that in the summer, if we're lucky, we get mid-morning to afternoon light, but other than that, it's pretty dark early on in the day and through about half of the year. And in winter, we are turning on lights from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed. Your girl just needs some dopamine, especially when you're inside all day. So our plan for the near future is we are actually going to be moving all of our things into storage because the rental market is so crazy right now and we don't want to have to deal with leasing a new apartment. And instead, we are going to make use of this time to go travel and work abroad for a bit. First, we are going to be spending a month in Amsterdam and then spending a few weeks in Germany and the Czech Republic. And then we're gonna be going to Bangkok for a month to do some Muay Thai training. But that is it for today's video. If you liked this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.